They reject you for years. Then when you finally get over them, they want you. Original post. There's this dude I was obsessed with all throughout high school and even still in college. We were in the same circles, mutual friends type of thing. He was a very popular guy and always so nice to me and insanely attractive. I always thought he was the most handsome guy I've ever seen in my life. I would bake him cookies, never forgot his birthday, and even bought him flowers. I would also turn up to almost all his football games to cheer him on, etc. That's how much I was into this guy. He knew I liked him, but he never ever looked at me that way. He always had his eyes on other girls. I was always just a friend. One day, I finally plucked up the courage to ask him out, and he rejected me. Not in a rude way, he was very polite about it, but it really hurt. Months would pass, and I would watch how he'd give all his attention to these other girls. Girls I knew were bad for him and even cheating on him. It hurt to see him get hurt. I left for college and still had these feelings for him, but eventually moved on. Completely lost contact. I didn't speak to or hear from him for a long time. Out of nowhere, I ran into him at a party. I didn't know whether to walk over and say hello, but he walked right up to me and gave me a big hug. My God, he's still sexy AF. He was very drunk and kept telling me how beautiful I was, but I just laughed because I knew it was just the alcohol talking. The very next day, he sent me a friend request on social media and has been liking almost all my pictures, commenting on them with a lot of compliments. He's even messaged me, saying he would love to catch up and spend more time together, being very flirtatious. Like, why now? All these years he knew I was into him, and all of a sudden, he wants to pay attention to me? I don't know what to do here. Part of me loves it. He finally sees me. But the other part is like, buzz off. I'm not some last resort. Get out of here. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Do your self-esteem a favor and don't go down this road. You'll just get used. He is likely in a bad place and wants the comfort of someone dependable. You deserve more than that, OP. I was rather thinking he was looking to take advantage of someone he perceived as an easy mark. He liked being liked. He wants her attention without the relationship. Exactly my thoughts. He will only string her along. She sounds like a lovely person. She deserves better. Someone who will want and eventually love her for her, and not only to feel better about himself. This isn't some Disney princess fairy tale nonsense. Do not entertain his advances. Do not continually put him on a pedestal. As a fellow man whore, I know what he is thinking. He only is doing this because he's down horrendous and knows you have a ridiculous obsession with him, and he needs to get his confidence up. I would like to think I am a higher quality whore and wouldn't be that pathetic, but that's definitely what he is thinking. Have respect for yourself and block him, OP. Now for the update. Firstly, thank you everybody for the thoughtful responses, especially those speaking from personal experience or who've been in a similar situation. I appreciate you. I've decided I'm going to meet up with him, either for lunch or a coffee. I've come to the realization that I may have jumped the gun a little bit. I don't even know for sure what his actual intentions are here. Like, he might just want to catch up as old friends and nothing more, and I might have read too much into his flirtiness and compliments. I've decided I don't want anything more with him beyond just a platonic friendship. I think seeing and hearing from him just brought out all these feelings from before, and I've allowed emotion to take over logic. I still care for him and always will, so reconnecting again wouldn't be such a bad thing. He was my friend that I just happened to have a huge crush on. Should his intentions not be platonic, I've just got to keep my dignity and go with what my head wants, not my stupid heart. Thank you. Next story. Update. My girlfriend, 28 female, told me, 28 male, she would not cheat on me after coming home from a girls' night out. Original post. Last weekend, I picked my girlfriend up from a bar after she had a girls' night. When we got back to the apartment, I carried her up the stairs. As in her words, a princess should not have to walk. As I carried her, she said, "I would never cheat on you. You're too good for that," and gave me a kiss. I didn't think much of it at the time because she had definitely drunk a lot that night, but I've been having trouble getting that out of my head. How do I decipher that statement? There are a few scenarios I can think of. 1. Someone pressured her to cheat. 2. One of her friends cheated on their partner. This is complicated because I've become friends with her friends' partners. 3. She was just drunk and not thinking. I've been cheated on before, and I've expressed to my girlfriend that cheating is the ultimate no-no for me and would cause an instant breakup, so she knows it's a touchy topic. I just wanted some advice before I make a big deal out of this, because I tend to overthink things. Now for the top advice before reading the update. She's probably drunk, and it's probably her way of saying she likes you very much. Yep, she's thinking of how much OP's been hurt and just saying I'd never do that. You're too good. Been there, done that. Drunk girls say things they think are sweet, but probably aren't as sweet as they actually mean. If she knows that you've been cheated on before, it makes complete sense to me that reassuring you apropos of nothing would seem like a good idea to drunk her. I wouldn't worry about it. That was my first thought too. She sounds like she was drunk and dumb and trying to be sweet. Could be that one of her other friends cheated that night. Could be that the topic of cheaters was brought up at some point in the night, and they were all reflecting on how cheaters suck. Could be that one of her friends brought up being cheated on. Could be that one of her friends brought up thinking about cheating. Or could be none of the above, and she was just thinking about how much she liked you and would never do anything to ruin it. This is more than likely nothing. OP, give it a quick, "Hey babe, why did you say this the other night?" Watch her reaction and go from there. Now for the update a few days later, a few people asked for an update, so here it is. Also, thanks for all the advice. I talked to my girlfriend and there's good news and bad news. Good news, my girlfriend didn't cheat. When I asked her about her comment, she had absolutely no memory of saying it. Lol. Bad news? When I asked why she would say something like that, she admitted that one of the girls she was out with, Jane, made out with a guy who was not her boyfriend, John. She said that the comment probably came from the fact that the guy Jane was smashing tongues with had a few friends who were hitting on her friend group, but lost interest after there were no takers. Needless to say, I voiced my concern with the fact that she had told me none of this, and she agreed that it was crappy and even looked suspicious. She told me she was looking for a chance to tell me, but I broached the subject first, and that she's going to take it easy when it comes to drinking when I'm not with her. For my reassurance and her hangovers, lol. Also, one of her friends got promoted, which is why they were going hard that night. This is not a common occurrence for them. Now for Jane and John. My girlfriend said that Jane had been texting in a group chat, saying that John was acting cold at the start of the week, and went radio silent after that. I called up John to double-check that he knew, as well as to ask if he wanted to get a beer sometime. He agreed, and told me that Jane and he had officially broken up. And she was a mess, constantly texting and calling him. I also asked him for Jane's side of the story, so I could match it with what my girlfriend told me. I'm a bit paranoid, I know. The stories matched up. She had been drinking. A guy came up to her. They flirted. She made a mistake. As far as Jane, my girlfriend, and her friends, I'm assuming that one of her friends told John. I forgot to ask John, but he's a good guy and has become good friends with my girlfriend's friend group. As of now, Jane hasn't reached out to my girlfriend or her friends. Definitely not the best ending, but it worked out all right for me. So, all good news then. You girlfriend did not cheat. The one who did was caught. Karma is a B. Very much this. Girlfriend didn't cheat and clearly isn't good with the behavior. I kind of appreciated the original post though. I once got hit on super hard, and in a really sleazy way, at a bar that was just for fans of my NFL team. He has both no interest in the team and no interest in being around cheering fans if it's not his team, so I would go alone. Since I was super overweight, this wasn't really an issue, because I'd sit at the bar, chat with the bartenders, and talk about my husband a lot. Not exactly a huge target. Men are gross though, so occasionally one would make a pass, but I'd brush them off pretty quickly. The last time I was ever there, a chubby chaser was on a mission. I was talking to him because he was a musician, and I was always looking to help my favorite venue get good bands. And since my husband is a musician, also get more guys for the jams he hosts. The dude in question was undeterred by the mention of my husband and brush-offs and embarrassed giggling. I had to hang there really long to feel safe enough to go to my car after he left. On a drive with my husband, I accidentally planted a seed of being hit on regularly because I talked about this gross guy. In retrospect, and of course after reading stories like OP's, I can see how a casual mention like that can freak a guy out, even with the most loyal of women. Last story. Update. My husband took a trip to his hometown to clear his head. How do I handle this? Original post. My husband, 32 male, and I, 30 female, have a 3-month-old, and the last few months have been very challenging. Challenging on one end because we have a new baby, our first, and also because of his expectations. Before our daughter was born, he was very involved in a niche sport, game nights with friends and going out. Now he wants to get back to all of it at once, without considering me or our daughter. This week he has spent a majority of his time going to practices for his team and going out. Well, when we talked about things a few weeks ago, he agreed we should share the responsibility. That was always the plan, as we both work full-time. So I bring up the fact he's been going out without helping me with the baby. We didn't have a daycare picked out for when we go back to work. House needs to be picked up, and our baby just doesn't sleep well unless she's held. He got so mad at me and said he feels unappreciated for what he does contribute. Help with feedings, dishes, and laundry. He then told me he will be leaving to go to his hometown 6 hours away to clear his head. He left me and our daughter. Now he's sending videos to me of him and his friends going out and having fun together. I don't know what to do about this. I have a meeting with my therapist soon who says he's emotionally abusive and to work on empowering myself. I feel like he deserves to live the life he wants, but not at the cost of my life too. I'm looking for advice on how to process this. Am I missing something? My husband genuinely doesn't see the problem here. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Having a new baby is hard, but your husband is being selfish. You're meant to be a team, and he's focused on himself regardless of whether you're struggling. I'm curious why your therapist thinks he's emotionally abusive, because it feels like there's more going on here, and you're not going to be able to convince an abuser to not abuse you. That's all I'm asking, to be a team. You're correct, way more to the story. Husband was not very helpful during pregnancy and postpartum. I thought we had effective communication, but it's like he never follows through on his end. OP, you're being a pushover. He's taking advantage of that. Until you stand up for yourself, this will be your life. Don't have another child with this man. I hear you, and I've felt that way for a long time. Definitely not adding another child to the mix. Whilst these comments aren't wrong, please be gentle and kind to yourself. These things are much easier said than done. I haven't read other comments, but in the likely possibility that part of the abuse has involved isolation, please try to reconnect with some safe support people and look into safety planning. You're the best judge as to whether you need anything along those lines. Thank you for your kind words. I have support, thankfully, and people are pissed at his actions. That's exactly why I came for advice. I'm so torn. I love him and want to resolve this, but I'm also disappointed. Now for the update a month later. Things took a major turn, and now I'm considering filing for divorce in a few months. When my husband returned from his hometown, we had a big fight. He saw nothing wrong with leaving for a few days to spend time with family and friends. I told him it wasn't leaving that was the issue. It was the abruptness and manner in which he left. Turns out, his parents are the ones who encouraged him to leave. I called his parents to get a better understanding of why they thought that was a good idea, especially since I thought we were close. My mother-in-law calls me often, but went radio silent while my husband was gone. So when I finally talked to my mother-in-law, she said I shouldn't be so controlling and that he is allowed to have his own life. She went on to ask why I didn't send our 3-month-old with him, and I scoffed. Why would I send my baby with my angry, irrational husband? Basically, the parents think I'm too controlling and that their son still needs to have fun and live his life. I never said he couldn't. After that whole ordeal, I remembered how guarded he suddenly became over his phone a while back, so I checked it. I found text messages between my mother-in-law and my husband talking about me like I was nothing. Every little thing I did, he would report back to his mom, making me look like a monster. I also found out he's been recording me, turning the baby monitor on me to watch me and the baby at night, and recording arguments and disagreements too. I feel so violated. He's been sending them to his mother. I confronted him about the texts and recordings, and it got heated. He ended up pulling out his phone and recording me again in the middle of the argument. I snapped and started wailing and screaming. I'm so embarrassed and scared because I've never in my life experienced that type of mental break. The worst part was he recorded all of it. I hate him for that. I packed up me and the baby and left to my family member's house. Thank you to everyone for the advice on the original post. I actually listened and will start moving in a different direction. It sounds like they are gearing up to make you look like the unstable parent. Be very careful. They may try and take the baby from you. I'm so sorry, but it looks like this is likely. I would suggest documenting everything that's happened since at least your child was born, including the amount of time he's been gone, how much help he's been with the baby, what you remember from the text or videos to his mom, etc. Also, make sure to keep up with your therapist, plus look into finding out what the laws are on being recorded without your consent. The main thing is to keep yourself and your baby safe and healthy. Lawyer up and document. Every instance he left you alone, him walking out on you, everything. Your husband is gearing up to use all of this as evidence for full custody. He's been thinking and plotting about divorce for a while. His parents will help him get it. You need to start getting realistic and stop being emotional. Get cold. Get a lawyer now. Do what the lawyer says. Get copies of everything. All finances. Document everything. Screenshots of texts. If it is legal to secretly record in your state, record when your husband starts in on you or lies. Do not let your husband know you've retained counsel or you are filing for divorce. Have him served when you are not around. Communication should go through lawyers after that, or a parenting app for shared custody purposes. Thank you. Very true. I spent hours calling lawyers and have a meeting Monday. I feel so blindsided by all of this, but my baby is depending on me to be strong. I live in a two-party state, so everyone has to consent to being recorded from what I understand. He's given you a gift with the videos of him goofing around with his friends, taunting you. Show how he's having fun instead of staying with you and baby. There's no way that he's worried for baby if he decides to go away to a location 6 hours away for days. You can also say that since he knew he was recording the interaction without your knowledge, he could have been acting a certain way to provoke you and underreacting to pretend he was being calm.